Time now to talk to one of the great British medal hopes for Tokyo, who will still only be 22 years old when the rearranged Paralympics come round. She won a stunning 7 gold medals at the Paris Swimming World Champs in London last year and was named the Sunday Times Disability Sportswoman of the Year. It's Alice Tai. So Alice, let's reflect on that magnificent 7 goals you had at the Worlds last year. Was that beyond your wildest dreams?
Yeah, that was pretty special, especially with it being in London, you know, having my family there and my friends and everyone being able to come and watch, and my grandparents, because I think they're a bit too old now to have been able to fly out to Tokyo or other countries to come and watch me race. So to have the opportunity to see them there after my races for the whole week was just, it was really nice for me and for them. So yeah, it was cool.
And you were in Rio at the Paralympics. You won a gold and a bronze. What was that experience like as a 17-year-old in Rio?
Yeah, Rio was a weird one. It kind of came in a dip where I really lost the passion for the sport. But again, I was there like for my family because they put so many hours and minutes and effort, everything of their time into trying to get me to that level. From my mum driving me to training at like 4 a.m. in the morning when I was 12 or something, to competitions and all that jazz. So for me, Rio was for them, and even though the medals were great, don't get me wrong, but for me, they mean more for me because of the reaction from my mum. After I got my individual bronze, I was doing like the lap of honour thing with the other 2 medalists, and I just saw her crying her eyes out. And for me, it was really special. So the medal means a lot to me because of that, but not so much because it's from the Paralympics, because my head wasn't really in the like, I want to go and win medals at this competition sort of place, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah, no, it's really nice to hear. And when we were obviously looking ahead originally to Tokyo this summer, I guess hopes were high that you were going to bring home several medals again. And I know you're world, Commonwealth, European champion in the 100 metres backstroke, isn't it? Was that the one that you really wanted out of all your events in Tokyo?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, any of them, I'd been happy to get any medal. But you know, gold's always what people are going for. Even though backstroke's probably my main stroke, I love races where I get to race other people. So I'd actually say I was looking most forward to like the 400 free and the 200 IM and the 100 fly, the races where either I didn't medal at Worlds or it was really close between me and other athletes, just because I love having the end of the race and just really having to dig in and literally, sometimes, I don't know why I'm saying this, but in training I do this as well. I like bite here on my lip when something's really, really hurting, and it like just transfers all the pain there. But it's gotten to points in training where I've literally bitten my lip too hard and it started bleeding, and I'm like,
wow,
I enjoy it.
Sounds like a secret tactic. We maybe shouldn't tell your rivals about this, though.
I wouldn't recommend it. Blood doesn't taste very good.
You'll have to wear a gum shield, you know, like a mouth guard to stop you being able to do it.
Probably.
And how did you feel? What was your reaction about the year postponement when you first heard?
For me, I think it was definitely the right decision. It was kind of inevitable that it was going to happen. So I was just waiting for them to either cancel it or postpone it, because in terms of like where the world is at the moment and the health of the world and everybody in it, I don't think having the games this year would have been a smart move. And with a load of countries pulling out anyway, if they would have been this year, as an athlete, not having some main competitors there because of something which is out of everyone's control right now, you know, I just think it doesn't really embody the spirit of the games. So I'm happy that they've moved to next year. Just for one, I think it's way better for everyone. It's gonna help save millions of lives, potentially. And yeah, and also I was injured at the start of this season, so I did actually train that much. So it kind of works out kind of well. But I don't want to sound like, yay, coronavirus. It's definitely not. It's definitely the complete opposite of that, because it's pandemic.
And if you don't mind, can you describe a little bit about what your disability is and how it affects your swimming and actually your daily life? Because I'm not sure many people know. You know, obviously lots of people have now heard about you and know your name, but I'm not sure people necessarily understand your disability.
Yeah, so I was born with bilateral talipes, which is also known as clubfoot, and it affected both my feet severely to a point where my knee below is all affected and also my hips because I was in the womb in a weird position. And I'm not sure if that's to do with the condition or if that was just another thing. I've never really looked into it. But yeah, so my calf muscles are really underdeveloped and I can't build up strength in them because my ankles also fused at 90 degrees, which was a surgery I had. However, I don't have any memory of having any movement in my ankles ever. And there are pictures of me trying to do ballet when I was like 6, and all the other girls have got like legs out and pointed toes, and I'm not like, so I'm glad I found a different sport to do because dancing is definitely not for me. And then also in 2014, I started experiencing kind of weird symptoms whilst I was swimming, even though the club foot affects me from the knee down. Obviously, that would mean like my quad and my glutes are all perfectly functioning. However, I was finding it hard to sustain a kick, which wasn't normal. And I went to my consultant in my next checkup, because I have them yearly, and I was like, what is going on? Because this isn't normal, and it was affecting me in the pool and kind of day-to-day life. And then we started doing tests, and in late 2017, we got a diagnosis of distal spinal muscular atrophy, which affects like my hands, mainly these 3 fingers. I can't really, there's not much strength in them anymore. And this hand I can't keep flat. This one's okay, but this one I can't. And in the pool, obviously you want to be able to keep that position. Literally my biceps like the same size as my calf. So I look really out of proportion in pictures, but it's great in the pool because I'm quite strong.
And how much training are you able to do at the moment?
It's not been too bad. Normally I'm based in London for uni, but I came back to Bournemouth to stay with my parents during the pandemic and during this lockdown. And my brother's here as well. He's come back from his uni. So we're all together as a family. And we did a few sea swims, but then now, because there aren't any coast guards and stuff, they're like, no. So we've stopped doing those, unfortunately. My parents have a rowing machine. So I messaged one of the GB rowing girls, Lauren Rolls. I don't know if I say her surname correctly, but she's lovely and she's been giving me some sessions, and I've done a few Zoom chats with the rowing team, which I fangirl really badly. And they're all really, really good and like Paralympic medalists. And I'm just sort of like starstruck a little bit the first time I did a session with them. But it's not been too bad, to be honest. Like, I'm just kind of enjoying a break from swimming a little bit, getting to try other stuff.
It's quite a well-trodden path of swimmers, Paralympic swimmers, moving into other sports. Is this something you're thinking about in the future, or is this just something to kind of see you through and keep you occupied during lockdown?
I spoke to my coach. We're going to keep it in as cross-training, just because I feel like it's kind of access to a whole different bit of fitness, which I didn't have in the pool. Mainly aerobic, because swimming's very anaerobic because you can't breathe. So I feel like it's going to benefit me in the 400 and 200 IM and the more endurance events. So we're going to keep it in. I'm not planning on doing it properly, not next year anyway, because it wouldn't fit. I think rowing is like a 3-day program, and swimming's a whole 10 days.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd rather just focus on one thing right now. However, who knows?
Now, you say you focus on one thing, but I have to ask you about your band. So tell us about your band and give them a little plug and your role within the band.
Okay. Well, we've not got anything out yet because we were going to record an EP, but then everywhere closed. So I'm in a band. We're called Blush with an exclamation mark. And we're still trying to figure out what sort of genre we want to completely settle in. But at the moment, we're trying to infuse sort of like funk with a bit of pop, like alt pop funky sort of stuff, with like a little bit of rock influence as well. That's mainly because I've written most of the songs so far and I play guitar. Okay. So it's all kind of come from something that I've written on guitar and then progressed and Nia, the drummer's added, and then Yasmin's added, and we've all thrown everything into it. So yeah, it's pretty exciting. We're gonna release a new video soon for another song. We've been sending audio clips back and forth.
Yeah.
I'm no genius with them, but I've tried my best to throw them together. It doesn't sound too bad.
Fantastic. Well, it sounds like you're keeping very busy, and I don't know whether I'm going to be talking about you in 10 years' time as a multi-medal winning swimmer, multi-medal winning rower, or rock guitarist. Or maybe a mixture of all three.
Or an absolute flop. Like I could just, she'd be like, oh, she did so well, and then look what happened.
I would say that's very unlikely. But listen, thank you, Alice. Thanks for making the time. It's been great to talk to you. And take care. Keep having fun and working hard. Thanks, Alice. Bye.
Bye.